We have got some homework to do on the Melco. It's just been sitting there. We've been using nothing but the Tajima. We haven't been that busy, so we really haven't kept up with the oiling, the cleaning, maintenance, and all that stuff. So today, gonna be a chill day. Got my mystery drink right here to help us along. And we're gonna be doing what I think is just the daily oiling, which is the bobbin case area, and the weekly, which is the needle bars and the railing. I believe there's definitely more that needs to be done. I have to take off the cover right over here and also get some stuff oiled up there and tensioned up. But for today, we're just gonna be doing the oiling, which gets you going and that you should be doing weekly and daily when operating the machine. I am gonna have to bring it out from the corner so we could access everything a little bit easier. So let's do that. You guys already know, as always, don't mind the mess. Here it is. In case you guys didn't know, the Melco only operates through the software, so you do need to connect an Ethernet cable that goes to the computer. That's your cable, your power cable, and your on switch. Okay, kids, all you really need is the Allen wrench that comes with the machine. That's the size. I don't know the size, but it fits 2 screws down here to take off the plate, and then your oil. Now I have this one. I used to have another one that had a metal spout. That's really easy to get in here when you have to oil the rods in there. So when it comes to that, I use a little syringe. That's for putting ink into sublimation printer, stuff like that. That helps right there. But for now, let's loosen this part up. Not loosen, but completely remove the plate. I have tape on the side because my little cover down here lost all of its strength. So I just tape it down. But here it is. That's your trim knife. Also gotta clean that. We'll remove the bobbin. And I have thread coiled up in here like crazy. Got those out of the way. I also unscrew this bottom thing just to get it really cleaned up. This as well. Then with the your canned air, gonna clean all of this up. Now when you're doing the steps through the software, it might be in a different order. But ultimately, you're doing the same thing. If you already know what to do, you don't have to go through the steps on the software. I'm moving this way back because you can remove this thing here on the railing and clean that up as well in case dust has also traveled back there. The needle plate as well. You want to throw some couple dots in here. Get that moving. Make sure the needle, the blade, when you're done with this, it's back in its original position. If the machine stopped crazy for whatever reason and you restart it with the knife over here closed, that needle's gonna hit and you're just gonna get more problems. That's happened to me more than once, and it just trips up the machine and it just makes it a hassle. I put 2 dots of oil, one on the side here and one inside right there. All right, got the plate back on there, my bobbin case, and this wonky little lid. I'll tape that back later as well. So that's that for this area here. Now moving up here, we are oiling the rod from up here as well as down here. The slit is here and the rod sits a little bit towards the left. So when we're aiming towards the left. When you hit the rod, I drop a dot of oil. Same here. The rod is at an angle right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit each and every one of those rods, and then we're gonna do a little bit of oiling on the rail over here. You do have to be careful after oiling that. If you're gonna be using it after that, there's a good chance that the oil is gonna drip down to the pressure foot and it might leave a stain on your garment. So always watch out for that. Either let it sit for a bit, you'll see that it will build up. You just clean it off, or run it on something that you don't care about. If it is gonna drip down the pressure foot, let it do its thing and then clean it up, and then you should be good. Now I'm gonna scoot the machine the furthest to this side here and then the other side. You hold the needle button and then left, yeah, all the way. So the needle button was holding this, and then left or right, depending how you want the machine to move. These are all shortcuts that could also be controlled through the software. I want to clean this up a little bit, the rail. if you guys are interested, I'll keep on doing the maintenance on this machine. I'm telling you, there's still much more to do. There's a part where I have to remove this lid here, clean some stuff up, grease it, same as back here. Not sure if you can see right now. Grease it. There's a cable that runs along the side of here. You got to check that tension. So we'll see if there is interest, and we'll continue. That was a lot of oil, but it says one dot in there and one on this outer part here. So now holding the needle button and right, you can just hold it. With the rail, we do the same thing, clean it up. But on this side, we have this hole right here where you have to fill it up. I think it tells you 20 dots. I don't count, I just fill it up. You see the oil start to run towards in there. So I just make sure that it's enough to where I think everything in there has already been oiled. If the oil's still moving that way, I'll put a little bit more. These drops are pretty big, so I think I would probably do around 15. A couple of places to be cautious of is this wheel here. This is what controls the presser foot. Oil always builds up around that as well. It could drip if it builds up enough, but this is what controls the presser foot. If you're doing 3D foam, you pretty much turn that all the way up. Sweaters, shirts, I usually do 1 click up or 2 clicks, just like that. Same here with the oil accumulating. If you can see, there's a little bit of buildup right there on that rail. Same thing. Just clean it up a little bit. Honestly, that's it for the basic oiling. Again, if you guys want to see more, there's plenty more to do. We take off this cover too. There's a little hole on the rail. You oil that as well. There's this red roller and there's a rubber clear roller down there. That's pretty much what the active feed system works through. In case you didn't know, this machine runs through a system called active feed. That's why it doesn't have any tension knobs, and pretty much whatever number you input through the software is how much these rollers let thread come out. So if you're embroidering something thin like a sweatshirt or a shirt, then that number is more like in 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're doing 3D puff, you're cranking that up 13, 15. Honestly, with this machine, I never had perfect tension. So I'm not a pro. I'm sure other people know more exact numbers when it came to that. For me, it's always been between like 5 and 10 when working just with sweatshirts. But now that we have it out here, out in the open, let's use it up a little bit. I'm gonna grab one of my baby sweaters and I'm gonna put this logo on his back neck. I think, if not right here, so he could represent. He just started school, so they know what he's repping. So let's get that done real quick. Boom. We're gonna put it right here in the middle. I was thinking back here, but the sweater's small, so it looks pretty big. We're gonna go for the Superman right here with my logo. I can't find my chalk, so I'll use this dusty piece of tape, 3 fingers down, right around there. A sheet of Cutaway. I always mix those up when I'm editing my videos. Man, I'm all over the place. But yeah, Cutaway, 2.5 ounce, black, so it blends in nicely. Not that it really matters. And my 5x5 mighty hoop. Pretty much ready to go. And most of you already know, but if you're new here, I do have a link in my description for free shipping to get anything from Midwest Products, Mighty Hoop, Hoop Master, all that stuff, free shipping. Code TKStitch25 at checkout. Now, I'm not going over the design in detail, but I do have a video, I'll link it right up here, where I create it completely from scratch. So if you're interested in that, go ahead, check it out. Today, it's ready to go, and let's see how the Melco does with it. I switched up the colors just a little bit. I just don't want to move thread around that I don't have, and yeah. So right here I'm centered. Clicking the rectangular button and the middle button centers your design. Holding that rectangular button and the up button moves it up. And I'm pretty much just going to go as high as I can. And what I'm looking at is this. This is the safety line when I'm moving it up or down. If it goes past that line, it won't let you. So I can move it a little bit higher, but that's the limit right there. I'm just going to remove the tape now and hit it. All done. The design actually had no issues. I was thinking maybe there was gonna be some problems because the stitch was meant for 3D puff, so it has a crazy amount of density. And sitting on top of the other thread, I thought that was gonna be an issue. It wasn't. What was an issue though is that my red spool is running out, so the thread was getting caught at the bottom of it, or it was getting snagged in little cuts that it has up on top. So at the end, I just cut it off, and I was literally holding the spool like this, letting it unwind, and it got to finish that way. Take that off. Take that off. And here we go. A little bit more low key with the black and white, but I think it still looks pretty cool. What do you guys think? One thing to note though, I think I said for sweaters I usually run it around 3 or 5. I forgot what I said, but I actually had it in auto, but with minimum 9. And I guess it was running around 10 to 12. That chart is supposed to tell you what it's choosing is the correct active feed number. That is all I got. Figured I'd take a break from all the Tajima stuff. We only have the Tajima because we had the Melco first and put a lot of work in. So it deserved a little TLC today. Appreciate you guys for watching. Any questions or comments, just drop them below. That's it for me. Deuces.